Dreaming of a fresh start in a new city this year? Not so fast. Some American cities are turning into places you should absolutely avoid. Sure, they might look charming on the surface. Parks, museums, maybe even a skyline that sparkles at night. But beneath that, things are falling apart. Fast. These cities are struggling with out-of-control crime, failing public schools, collapsing infrastructure, and disappearing job markets. And yet, thousands of Americans move into these danger zones every year, often with no idea what they're stepping into. It's not just the numbers, it's the stress, the broken promises, the sense that no one's fixing what's broken. Whether you're a young professional, a parent, or someone looking for peace in retirement, these cities won't offer what you're hoping for. Stick around as we count down the 8 worst cities to move to in 2025, based on real data, real stories, and harsh truths. You might be shocked by which cities made the list. Number 8, Birmingham, Alabama. At first glance, Birmingham may seem like a charming southern city with rich history and hospitality. It's the birthplace of civil rights legends and home to historic churches and iconic jazz. But in 2025, Birmingham is also one of the most dangerous cities in America, and it's getting worse. With a violent crime rate of 20.6 per 1,000 residents, your odds of being a victim here are about 1 in 49. And while some neighborhoods are revitalizing, many others are still plagued by shootings, burglaries, and carjackings. Gun violence in particular has surged since the pandemic, overwhelming law enforcement and leaving many residents feeling unsafe even in daylight. Police staffing shortages have resulted in slower response times, and many community members say they no longer trust the system to protect them. But crime isn't Birmingham's only problem. The city's economy is struggling, with limited job growth and persistent poverty in many areas. The unemployment rate hovers above the national average, and wages remain low. Once known for its steel industry, Birmingham has yet to fully reinvent itself in today's economy. Healthcare access is also a challenge. Several hospitals have downsized or closed, and mental health services are severely underfunded. Add in a high rate of chronic illnesses like diabetes and heart disease, and Birmingham ranks poorly for overall health outcomes. The public school system faces serious issues too, from underfunded schools and teacher shortages to low graduation rates. Many families feel stuck, unable to afford private schools and worried about the long-term prospects for their children. And let's not forget infrastructure. Aging roads, outdated water systems, and deteriorating public housing make daily life harder for many residents. While local leaders have made efforts to attract development, progress is slow and uneven. Some parts of Birmingham are thriving, but others are still waiting for basic investment. So if you're thinking of moving to Birmingham in 2025, it's worth looking deeper than the tourist brochures. Because behind the murals and festivals is a city fighting to stay afloat. For too many residents, Birmingham isn't just tough, it's exhausting. And unless real change comes soon, the city's decline may continue. One broken promise at a time. Number 7, Little Rock, Arkansas. At the heart of Arkansas sits Little Rock, a city with southern charm, historic roots, and natural beauty. But in 2025, it's also one of the most dangerous places you could choose to live in the U.S. With a violent crime rate of 20.2 per 1,000 residents, the odds of becoming a victim are roughly 1 in 49. That's not just a statistic, it's a red flag for anyone considering a move here. Gun violence, assaults, and robberies have become disturbingly routine in several neighborhoods. And it's not just happening at night. Many incidents occur in broad daylight, even near schools and public parks. Local law enforcement struggles to keep up, often citing staff shortages and limited funding as barriers to effective policing. As a result, response times can be long, and public trust in the system continues to erode. But crime isn't the only concern weighing down this city. Little Rock's economy is another source of stress. While Arkansas as a whole has seen some growth, Little Rock has lagged behind. Many residents work in low-wage service jobs, and upward mobility is limited, especially for younger workers and recent graduates. Job opportunities outside of government and healthcare remain scarce, pushing many talented people to seek careers elsewhere. Education is another pressing issue. Public schools in Little Rock face chronic underfunding, overcrowded classrooms, and performance gaps. Many families feel they have to choose between staying and compromising their kids' futures or moving to a more stable district. Meanwhile, the city's infrastructure is showing serious wear. Pothole-ridden roads, outdated water systems, and neglected public spaces signal years of deferred maintenance. Add to that a housing market that offers few affordable options, and it becomes clear why so many residents are frustrated. Little Rock isn't without potential. It has a strong art scene, beautiful outdoor spaces, and a community that wants change. But the problems here run deep. If you're looking for a fresh start in a city that offers safety, opportunity, and stability, Little Rock might not be your best bet in 2025. Because in a city where even hope feels like a gamble, the cost of staying might be more than you're willing to pay. Number 6. Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland, Ohio, once a proud powerhouse of industry and innovation, now finds itself battling an identity crisis in 2025. Known historically as the comeback city, Cleveland is struggling once again, this time with a rise in violent crime, deteriorating infrastructure, and stagnant economic growth. With a violent crime rate of 17.1 per 1,000 residents, the chances of becoming a victim are roughly 1 in 58. Shootings, carjackings, and robberies have become far too common, particularly in East Cleveland and other high-risk zones. While some neighborhoods are safe and even thriving, the disparity between the haves and have-nots is becoming more pronounced. Public safety remains a serious concern, and local law enforcement agencies are stretched thin. Many residents report slow response times and feel that their calls for help go unheard. Beyond crime, Cleveland's economic landscape paints a grim picture. While the city has tried to reinvent itself through healthcare and tech, the transition hasn't benefited everyone. Factory jobs, once the lifeblood of the city, have disappeared, replaced by low-wage service positions with little security or upward mobility. Cleveland's unemployment rate lingers above the national average, and many young professionals are leaving in search of better opportunities. This exodus is contributing to a shrinking tax base, which in turn limits the city's ability to invest in its own recovery. Public schools are underfunded, and graduation rates remain below state averages. Teachers are overworked and underpaid, and families often find themselves fighting for access to quality education. Housing is another challenge. While home prices are affordable compared to national standards, many properties are in poor condition due to years of neglect and disinvestment. Abandoned homes are a common sight, particularly in older neighborhoods. Add in Cleveland's harsh winters and aging public infrastructure, and the challenges compound. Roads are crumbling, public transportation is unreliable, and basic city services are hit or miss. Cleveland still has heart. It's a city of underdogs, resilience, and strong community spirit. But in 2025, the struggles are real, and for many they're overwhelming. If you're considering a move, know this: Cleveland needs people who are ready to fight for change, but it may not be the place for those looking for a smooth, secure, or stable life right now. Number 5, Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore, a city with deep roots in American history, iconic harbor views, and a gritty charm, is facing hard truths in 2025. While its cultural contributions and waterfront revival efforts remain noteworthy, they're often overshadowed by a persistent, painful reality. Baltimore is one of the most dangerous cities in America. With a violent crime rate of 15.6 per 1,000 residents and a 1 in 63 chance of becoming a victim, the statistics speak for themselves. Gun violence continues to plague many of Baltimore's neighborhoods, particularly in West Baltimore, where residents hear sirens far more often than they see investment. Homicides, shootings, and robberies remain frequent, and efforts to curb these trends have been inconsistent and underfunded. Policing reforms have been controversial and slow-moving, and trust between law enforcement and the community is fragile. The criminal justice challenges are only part of the equation. Baltimore's public education system has long been a point of concern, with underperforming schools, aging facilities, and some of the lowest graduation rates in the state. Teachers are stretched thin, and families are left frustrated by a lack of resources and inconsistent support. For those seeking a fresh start, that's a tough pill to swallow. Economically, the city struggles with high unemployment and low median incomes. While sectors like healthcare and education do offer stable jobs, largely due to institutions like Johns Hopkins, many residents feel left out of the economic equation. Gentrification has pushed some longtime residents out of historic neighborhoods, while others face rising rents without rising wages. Infrastructure problems also weigh heavily. Public transit is unreliable, roads are riddled with potholes, and water main breaks are a common occurrence. Add to that the legacy of redlining and environmental hazards like lead in older homes, and you're looking at a city fighting uphill on multiple fronts. Baltimore still has strong bones, a proud working-class spirit, stunning architecture, and vibrant pockets of community resilience. But right now, it's a city in crisis, one where hope exists, but only for those ready to work hard and wait long for change. If safety, stability, and opportunity are your top priorities in 2025, Baltimore might not be the right move, at least not yet. Number 4, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Milwaukee, known for its lakefront charm, brewing legacy, and vibrant festivals, might look picturesque on the surface, but the reality for many residents paints a different picture. In 2025, the city's violent crime rate stands at 16.6 per 1,000 residents, translating to a 1 in 59 chance of becoming a victim. That's not a number you can ignore, and it's one of the highest in the Midwest. While downtown Milwaukee has seen investment and revitalization, the surrounding neighborhoods have been left behind. Poverty remains high, especially among Black and Latino communities, where economic inequality is deeply entrenched and opportunities for advancement feel few and far between. Unemployment and underemployment are common, and many working-class families are living paycheck to paycheck with little relief in sight. Education is another area of concern. Milwaukee public schools face significant challenges, from crumbling infrastructure and teacher shortages to low test scores and high dropout rates. For families with school-age children, these systemic issues make finding a path forward frustrating and exhausting. Public safety isn't just about violent crime either. Property crimes, carjackings, and burglaries are on the rise, creating a daily atmosphere of unease for residents. Some neighborhoods have become near no-go zones after dark. Even law enforcement officials acknowledge being stretched too thin to respond promptly to every call. Then there's the healthcare gap. Despite world-class institutions like the Medical College of Wisconsin, many Milwaukeeans struggle to access affordable, quality healthcare, particularly in low-income areas. Add in mental health crises, substance abuse issues, and rising homelessness, and the city's safety net starts to look threadbare. Milwaukee also wrestles with deep segregation, one of the most pronounced racial divides of any major U.S. city. This affects everything from housing to policing to employment. And while recent initiatives aim to close these gaps, progress has been slow and uneven. Make no mistake, Milwaukee has potential. Its cultural scene, sports pride, and lakeside beauty make it a place many still want to love. But in 2025, for those seeking safety, strong schools, and equitable opportunities, Milwaukee's challenges are hard to overlook. Before making it your next home, take a hard look at the full picture, not just the postcard view. Number 3, Springfield, Missouri. On the surface, Springfield, Missouri seems like a peaceful Midwestern city. Affordable homes, friendly faces, and access to the beautiful Ozarks. But dig just a little deeper, and you'll find a troubling pattern that's impossible to ignore in 2025. With a violent crime rate of 15.6 per 1,000 residents and a 1 in 64 chance of being victimized, Springfield has quietly become one of the most dangerous cities in America per capita. That's not a headline you expect from a city of just over 170,000 people. But it's the reality locals live with every day. Springfield's struggles stem from multiple overlapping crises: economic instability, rising homelessness, rampant drug use, and an overstretched police force that's fighting a losing battle. Methamphetamine and opioid abuse are tearing through the community, fueling property crime and violent encounters. In recent years, local news reports have chronicled a surge in aggravated assaults and shootings, especially in lower-income neighborhoods on the city's north and west sides. It's not just about the statistics. It's the fear that creeps in after dark, the empty storefronts on once bustling blocks, and the families who now hesitate to let their kids walk to school. But crime isn't the only issue weighing Springfield down. Public schools in the area are underfunded, teacher shortages are widespread, and graduation rates have slipped below state averages. While there are a few bright spots in the education system, the broader trend is concerning, especially for families looking to build a future here. Economically, Springfield leans heavily on healthcare and education as job anchors, but many of the positions in retail, food service, and manufacturing offer low wages and few benefits. Housing remains relatively affordable, but affordability means little if crime drives down your quality of life. And while the city has made efforts to invest in revitalization, particularly downtown, the impact hasn't reached many working-class areas. Infrastructure is aging, public transportation is limited, and social services are overwhelmed by growing need. Springfield still offers community pride and Midwestern charm. But if you're considering a move in 2025, this is one city where the risks may outweigh the rewards, at least for now. Number 2, Rockford, Illinois. Rockford, Illinois might not grab national headlines often, but when it comes to dangerous cities in America, it definitely makes the list, and not in a good way. With a violent crime rate of 15.0 per 1,000 residents and a 1 in 66 chance of becoming a victim, Rockford is one of the most violent mid-sized cities in the Midwest. That statistic alone should raise eyebrows, but the story goes far deeper. Once a thriving manufacturing hub, Rockford has struggled to reinvent itself after decades of industrial decline. Factories shuttered, jobs disappeared, and entire neighborhoods were left in economic freefall. Today, poverty grips nearly a quarter of the population. Unemployment runs consistently higher than the national average, and those who do find work often settle for low wages and limited advancement. That economic instability fuels crime, and Rockford has been fighting an uphill battle to regain control. Aggravated assaults and gun-related crimes are all too common. In 2024, the city saw a spike in homicides, prompting emergency measures and additional funding for law enforcement. But the root causes remain generational poverty, lack of opportunity, and social disinvestment. Even schools in Rockford feel the pressure. While the district has tried to innovate, many schools face overcrowding, outdated materials, and high turnover rates among teachers. For families hoping to find a supportive environment for their children, the options can be frustratingly limited. Public services are stretched thin. From road maintenance to social welfare programs, Rockford simply doesn't have the tax base to cover growing needs. And while there are pockets of revitalization, including downtown efforts to attract restaurants and small businesses, those improvements have yet to touch many of the city's hardest-hit neighborhoods. Add in cold winters, aging infrastructure, and a deeply divided local government, and you've got a city stuck in survival mode. Rockford isn't without hope. There are passionate community groups working for change, but for now, it remains a cautionary tale, one where the American dream feels distant and progress moves at a crawl. If you're thinking of relocating in 2025, Rockford may not be the fresh start you're looking for. The risk-to-reward ratio just isn't there. Not yet. Number 1, St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis might be known for its iconic Gateway Arch and deep cultural roots, but behind the postcard skyline lies one of the most troubled cities in America today. With a violent crime rate consistently among the highest in the nation, St. Louis tops the list of places you should seriously reconsider moving to in 2025. In 2024, the city reported more than 200 homicides, most of them gun-related. That's a staggering number for a population of just under 300,000. It translates into a violence rate far beyond what you'll find in larger cities like Chicago or Los Angeles. But the issue isn't just crime. It's the deep, systemic challenges that have plagued St. Louis for decades. Economic inequality is severe. While some neighborhoods are thriving with new businesses, others are mired in poverty, unemployment, and blight. More than 20% of residents live below the poverty line, and job opportunities, especially for young people, remain scarce. Many companies have pulled out of the city center over the years, leaving vacant buildings and broken promises. Education is another major concern. The St. Louis public school system faces chronic underfunding, low test scores, and a dropout rate that far exceeds the national average. Parents seeking quality public education are often left with few viable options. And while the city has tried to invest in charter schools and alternative programs, the gap between what's needed and what's offered remains wide. Healthcare access, particularly in low-income neighborhoods, is limited. Several hospitals have closed, and those that remain are often overburdened. Mental health services are especially strained, a dangerous gap in a city with high crime and trauma exposure. Infrastructure is deteriorating. From pothole-ridden streets to aging bridges, the physical state of the city reflects years of neglect. And while there are revitalization efforts underway, including tech investments and new sports venues, many residents feel disconnected from that progress. The result? A growing exodus of families, professionals, and even longtime residents who've given up hope for meaningful change. St. Louis has soul and history, but in 2025, it also has serious issues that make it a risky choice for relocation. If safety, stability, and opportunity are your priorities, this city might not be the right fit, at least not yet. That's a wrap on the 8 cities you should never move to in America in 2025. Each one paints a powerful and painful word portrait of what happens when communities are left behind. Crime, poverty, poor health care, and a lack of opportunity are driving people away in search of a better life. But these aren't just statistics. They're real places with real people trying to make things work. So what do you think? Did your hometown show up? Drop a comment, share your experience, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We've got more honest, eye-opening stories coming your way every single week.